Hi, and thank you for joining me for another process video for 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life, round 16. And today's sketch you can see in the top left hand corner there is by Janet Fritz, who goes as Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube. Do check her channel out, it's absolutely fabulous. She does some amazing creations, and I'm really happy with this sketch that she provided. So of course I'm going to go off piste a little bit. I've printed off 8 photos that are 3x4, are they 3x4, 2x3? So I printed 4 to a 4x6 sheet using the Project Life app, and then I'm just matting them onto white cardstock. As you can see, I'm loosely following the right hand side of the sketch, but I've got 3 instead of 3x4 at the top. I'm just using all 2x3 photos, and I've got an extra photo than Janet has there, because she would have had 7 had that been 2 photos, and I've got 8. So the first row of photos I'm doing 3, and then I've got 2 rows of 2, and then 1 single one at the end. So I've grabbed my travel collections here, and I'm using a little bit of the Wherever, I think it's called, from 49er Market, and I've got this lovely stencil from Simple Stories. It's from a while ago now, one of their travel collections, and it's got this lovely street map. So I'm just going to push my speckled egg ink through it using a blending brush, just to create a nice pattern in the background. And you've seen there I've moved the stencil down, and I'm just blending it almost all the way down. I've got the torn paper that you saw me do before that's going down the left hand side, and then I just wanted this stenciling to go right the way down the middle, and then a little bit more on the right hand side, but not quite as much, and tapering off to a point. A lot of this will be covered by the photos, but I'm just trying to blend out those seams there that I've got between the stencils where I've moved the stencil about. Then I'm going to add some water splatters just to create a little bit of texture on that background. You can see I've also use different pressures when putting the ink down so that it's a bit mottled. That was the look I was after. I didn't want a plain solid colour. And then I'm going to come in with my iced spruce ink and a stamp, one of the Hey Little Magpie exclusive stamps, and just create a little bit more texture using this grid. So just adding that in a couple of places, and then I'm going to come in with the text stamp and do the same thing. So just curling that stamp up, I'm not using a stamping block, and just adding a little bit of text about the page. You can barely see all of this once the layout's finished. A lot of it gets covered up by the photos, but I do like the effect that it gives. And then finally I'm just coming in with Blueprint Sketch and adding a few splatters about the page. Now I don't leave these down for too long before I mop them up, so it just gives a subtle blue, but it's the same tone of blue that I've got in my photos, so I really wanted to bring that in as well. So here I am with that tissue, just mopping all that up, and you can see it just leaves a subtle dot of colour on the background. Again, just a different dimension on that. So now I'm going to get these papers stuck down. So just distressing the edges that I've torn. This is an easy way of sort of curling them up, really. And I realise that this yellow piece is a bit too wide, so I am going to trim that down and save the strip for a future layout. But this piece is fine. I love this paper with the street map on it. It's a beautiful paper on the reverse as well, so it was a difficult choice to tear into it, but I really wanted to use that street map. I've used it before. So just going to get this stuck down. So just keeping the glue to the left hand side of it so that I can slot that yellow piece underneath afterwards. And this is where I realised that it's way too big. There's no point in wasting loads of paper behind the other one. So I'm just going to trim that down. And I've got a 12-inch piece to use on a future layout there. So just tucking that underneath that first paper, and then I can add the photos back in. So the first strip is the strip of 3. And that's just going to tuck ever so slightly under that torn edge, and then there are those other 2, and then the last single one, and they're just going to be staggered as you see there. I just tore a little bit more of that yellow paper off so that I could see the photos more clearly. Now these were all of our holiday in the summer. We went to Corfu Old Town as part of our Mediterranean cruise, and I just took loads of pictures of the town. It was absolutely beautiful. I was really impressed. We've been to Corfu previously on a cruise, but we went into the new town, and this old town is so very different. It was really nice to go and see it. It was only Mum and Dad saying, "Oh, you must go to the old town," that made us realise. So I'm going to create a little cluster at the bottom here. Janet's is at the top of the right hand photo, but I just felt it suited this single page much better. And I've been through my bits and pieces from my older stash to pull bits out to add here. So that tag is just from a pattern paper. I forget which one, it might be a Maggie Holmes. The globe is from one of the nest box kits that we've done in the past. I know the frame is an Ellie Studio one, which is ancient, and then those little tickets and things have been fussy cut from a Heidi Swap paper from a couple of years ago. So I'm just adding the whole to that little tag. I'm going to cover up the palm tree with the globe because I don't really want that showing on this layout. And then I'm just moving things around. I decided against using that yellow tag. It was just a little bit too yellow. There is yellow in the buildings here, but it's more of a creamy yellow, and the yellow really was so bright. I decided to remove that. So I'm just going to stick all this down as a block. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to fit on the page, so I just wanted to get it stuck as a block, and then I could work out from there. And you saw there I just cut the bottom of that ticket because it had been fussy cut from a paper, and I'd only cut the top half, but it's hilarious because I think I've covered everything that I've just cut up, so I'm not quite sure where I was going with that. So just adding that tag there now, and then that globe that covers that palm tree really nicely, and that gives me a little space for my date as well. So I'm just going to glue this all down now that I've sorted out how it's going to fit together. Just tucking in that ATG tape. Do you find that if something's really thin, the ATG can sort of wander a little bit, show out on the edges? So I just tuck it back under and it's fine like that. So as I mentioned, this is my travel collections. I've just put them all together in one tub, and I've got this Simple Stories foam sticker sheet, and I saw the word Discover. The colour goes really nicely with these photos. So I'm just going to put Discover Corfu Old Town as my title. So I'll just get these labels stuck down first, and then I'll find something else to add the rest of it with. So just using my T-square ruler to check that I get this straight on the page. And I'm going to try and bunch them up a little bit together, just so that it doesn't take up quite so much space going to the right hand side. And then I found these old Rosie's Studio stickers. I've got these in my stash because you can see they were misprinted slightly. The lines around the letters weren't quite right, and I wasn't happy sending them out to a customer, but I'm happy to use them on a page. It doesn't bother me that much, so I've used those to spell out the word Corfu. Now I'm just paying some attention to that tag and tying a bow in the top using some wax twine, and then I'll go back to the rest of the title in a second. So just found this other foam sticker which I thought would work nicely as another bit added to that cluster there, and it's bringing that brown down to the bottom of the page. And just adding a foam pad, a ribbon loop there. I normally do this under a photo, but I just felt that it needed it just there to add a bit of texture. And this is where I'm going to add the rest of the title, Old Town, and it's just using these lovely tile stickers that are in the Simple Stories sticker book. So that's the title complete, and now I just want to find another couple of bits to add. I wanted to fill in that gap on the left hand side of the title, but couldn't quite work out what to add. I found this little number plate that I'd fussy cut from one of the nest box kits that we'd done this year, just one of the papers in it. It was an Echo Part paper, so I just wanted to add that there. And then I decided to bring in another one of the Hey Little Magpie stamps. I think this set is from the Directions, yes, the Directions stamps, and I'm just using tea dye to bring that brown down to the bottom. But I do get a bit carried away, and then I panic that I'm not happy with it, so you'll see in a minute. I just add some water to it and leave it to sit for a minute, and then blot it up, and it just sort of dulls it down a little bit and makes it bleed a little bit across the page. I'm much happier with that. So I'm adding my date to the little tag that I'd left there to add the date on. And then here I am mopping it up, and that's the layout done. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye.